right, my friend, welcome to the next episode in the Fit at Home podcast, where we share our top tips to help you improve your health and fitness home-based lifestyle over the next 7 days. I'm Matt Schifferly from the Red Delta Project, Al Painter, co-pilot here, and we've got our top tips that we're going to share with you this week. Let's get right to it. Al, how are things in your world these days, my friend?
Things are awesome because the Santa Clara Broncos women's soccer team, which I am a alumni of the university, they beat Florida State this week, Monday, I believe, for the NCAA title, the College Cup in soccer. So I'm super happy about that. They were at 11 seed, knocking off a 1 seed. Apparently, Florida State had won 7 of the last 10 titles. And
always
Santa
good
Clara
when you're
Broncos
doing well, better than
are
expected.
now top of the heap.
Hell yeah, man. Do you think they're going to keep this win streak going, or is it just kind of a one and done deal?
I think I'm going to go with at least Sweet 16, maybe even grade 8 for a few more seasons. I'm assuming, because they're already an incredibly strong program as it is. And if this doesn't help recruiting, I mean, you know, right? You win a national title and it's got to help you recruiting. Plus, they're competing with Stanford, which is about 10, 15 minutes up the highway from Santa Clara. So now they'll have some more chips to put on the table when they're competing against Stanford for recruits.
Fantastic. Very good.
Yeah.
Basically the same thing going on here as well. Everybody's gearing up with summer is finally back. Sports are coming back. The Rockies are playing baseball in the stadium. People are going to the stadium. It's great. It's like Denver has vibe again. There's energy in Denver because you see people walking around with Avs shirts on and everything. They're going to the games. It feels like things are coming back to life here in Denver.
Are you a hockey guy too, or no?
I grew up with college hockey. Denver never really followed the pro hockey, but growing up UVM and going to UVM and stuff, college hockey was really big. So I kind of keep an eye on what's going on in the pro level, but not so much the pro. It's basically I just follow like pro football, and if any of the local teams are doing well, I'll be like, huh, what's going on? Oh, we're doing good. Okay, good.
We got Josh Allen against Patrick Mahomes on a Sunday night, I believe.
Yes, we do.
AFC title game rematch.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, by the time the draft and everybody plays out, like every season is literally like you hit a reset button in the NFL. It really, you just don't know what you're getting every season. So we'll see what happens, but I'm already getting geared up for football season.
Oh yeah. I'm hearing great reports on the sports talk around here that Trey Lance is looking really, really good. And his footwork is like exorbitantly advanced for a rookie quarterback who came from a system where he played under center. So I am very excited about that.
Oh boy, here we go. We'll see. It's always fun to hope. And speaking of hope, let's give people some hope on how they can do their workouts.
Well played. Insert tab A into tab B, produce podcast C. Well done, sir.
Thank you. Yes. What can I say? I'm no Joe Rogan on that one, but we'll go into it. So we've got our top tips. Of course, we cover workout tips, dietary tips, and a resource that you can use over the next 7 days to improve your home-based health and fitness lifestyle. Al, what's your workout tip of the week?
My workout tip for the week is something that I saw on the Jess Bento Physio and all the DVRT Instagram sandbag stuff. So this is not original material.
Yep.
But as a bike rider and has been baseball player who's been relegated to a life of softballery forever. It does a really good thing to open up the hips, and it's just a 3-movement lunge sequence, right? So if you've got knees, that'll do it, and you got hips, that'll do it. They've got this really cool lunge sequence where you can shoulder the bag, you can cradle the bag, or you can hold it in a single arm and kind of reach across the body. You step backwards into a lunge. Ideally, the knee touches the ground. And then step out at a 45-degree angle, right? So you can really open up the hip from that direction. You got the hip opening 2 different directions. And then doing a curtsy lunge, stepping behind. So let's say you'd step back with the right leg, 45 degrees with the right leg, and then curtsy with the right leg. And then if you wanted to hate your life even more, you could step into a lateral lunge as well, or hell, you could even throw in some squats too. But it is a great sequence. We're doing it in our foul mouth fitness workouts on Saturday morning. And excuse me, it's a really low rep count So we're doing sets of 3, which in actuality is 9 reps, right?
Mhm.
So keep the reps low on this, unless you can do it as a finisher. But if you only go for 20 seconds, you can do body weight. But something like this, since it's such a high volume of the movement, keep the rep count low, 2 to 3, max 4. And then we do 3 sets. And that just seems to really open up the hips. And I feel really good the next day on the bike.
Yeah, that's definitely a good thing to be doing too. We oftentimes make our leg training way too like sagittal, like front to
Yeah.
back, lunges, forwards, squats, sort of thing. And the hips are a ball and socket joint. They're like our shoulders. So imagine if you only used your shoulders one way and never like shifted things around. Of course, you're going to get tight. Of course, it's going to be very kind of restricted on what
Yeah.
you can do with that joint. So moving in those different directions is definitely a tip for the win, because the more we can use our hips in different directions and angles, the healthier and stronger our hips will be. And your hips are a huge linchpin for
Yeah.
the entire lower body. I mean, I can't tell you how many times people have had back pain, knee pain, performance issues. One thing after another, it always comes back down to the hips being tight, being immobile. And that type of approach is probably the quickest and easiest way to really help to stabilize and loosen things up in a very practical, functional way. A+ for your tip today, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Well, and you're also working those lateral diagonal lines too, right? So if you're stepping back with the right foot, I like a single arm hang position. Then I'll just reach across to the left, or maybe hold on to the bag with each handles. And that way, when I'm my brake pedal's on the left, and then it turns into the gas pedal. But then the accelerator, additional accelerators right there in that shoulder, left hip fires, boom, and that right shoulder's coming back. And I mean, you'll hit that diagonal pattern. You hit your obliques. I mean, it's a big bang for your buck movement. It's good stuff.
Yeah, getting everything. Cool. And that kind of coincides with my tip. And my tip is a little bit more broad, a little more general. But a lot of times this goes towards people who are always kind of asking, like, will this work, or will this exercise work, or will this workout work, or does this happen? And then how do I do? I'm going to give you the most fundamental fitness tip for your workouts and figuring out what works and what doesn't. And that is the fact that in your workouts, basically, you'll gain that which you challenge. Very, very simple. You want something, challenge your body's functional ability to do that. So if you want endurance, challenge your stamina. If you want strength, challenge your strength. I got these new tools here. These are grip tools that I'm going to be reviewing on the RDP YouTube channel soon. So these are basically what they do is they challenge your grip. So you're hanging or you're pulling and you're challenging your ability to grip. So that builds your grip strength, your forearm strength. You gain that which you challenge. One of the most fundamental principles in all of fitness. It will answer almost every question out there of what is effective, what does certain things do, how do things work for you or not work for you. You will gain something if you challenge it. And if you're not challenging whatever you want, then you're probably not going to be gaining very much of that thing from that gadget, that tool, that exercise, that workout, or whatever. But if you're challenging it progressively, then you will have an effective gadget, tool, workout, exercise, or whatever on your hands. You gain
when
that.
we were in the green room earlier before the show, and they brought us the gift basket. That's where Matt got those, by the way, people. They came in the gift basket, in the swag bag, in the green room there. My first thought was, when you were talking about those, other than the adjustability, how do those stack up against something like fat grips?
Excuse me. So the biggest advantage of these is because fundamentally, these don't do anything different than any other grip tools out there, like fat grips, or I've in the past used just big PVC diameter pipes when I make my own suspension straps and stuff. You can also just wrap a towel around a pull-up bar or just hang from a towel. I've known people to use things like gloves, like mittens and stuff when they're doing pull-up stuff, because that makes it harder to grip onto. So yeah, grip training is not rocket science. Make it harder to hold on to something. That's it. What these do is they have the adjustability to dial in exactly how you're using your hands. Because most grip tools are like the fat grips, where it's like, okay, it's a fixed diameter, fixed angle, you're using your hands, one particular way. And then if you want to progress the ability to strengthen your grip, then you have to change the exercise. You have to change how much weight you have, or whether you're doing rows versus pull-ups and all these sorts of things. You have to change the exercise itself for how much weight is on your hands. What these do is they allow you to change and dial in the angles, as well as how much of your fingers or your thumb are on the actual tool in a quantifiable way. So that way, if you are a grip kind of connoisseur like I am, where my hands, I've always been very sensitive about my hands. Like I want things to feel perfect for my hands. I want them just right kind of thing. They allow you to get that thing dialed in. So it's exactly the right angle, the exact right position, the amount of grip that you have on it, so you can get it exactly the way you want, versus saying, here's a tool, it's static, there's not really any adjustability, do the best you can with it. It's kind of a one size fits all thing. This is an adjustable grip tool, which is very common these days to have as far as that degree of adjustment.
Well, yeah, remember people, we talked about it several times before, statistically, stronger grip, longer life. Right?
Absolutely.
That's what the science is saying. So these kinds of tools are great.
Yeah, and they make you feel amazing too. Like people don't understand how much a strong grip influences how strong you feel, period. Years ago, we did my friends and I, we got into indoor rock climbing, because what else are you going to do in the middle of January in Vermont other than ski? And by the end of that winter, like all of us felt like we had hammers on the end of our arms. And our forearms were like nice and big and defined and everything. I was like, man, I feel like I could just tackle the world, because everything I do with my hands is just so strong now, because we're rock climbing. And ever since then, I'm like, what do I use to replicate that? And these do a great job of it.
But nice.
Anyway, yeah, we kind of.
So those will help you.
Your resource of the week.
Those will help you feel like you can take on the empire all by yourself, people.
Absolutely. And then you get shot down in a snow speeder. Oh, well.
That was a code at one point for, was it Lego Star Wars? I don't know. One of the games, Dead Dak, was a code you could put in, and you would get all these extra trinkets to help you with the game.
Well, moving on to trinkets, we have the dietary tips of the week. So these are our tips to help you eat better over the next week. Al, what's your diet tip of the week?
This is a simple one. Anybody can do it. And I actually got really mindful today. I was making breakfast, and I was watching old school Scooby-Doo, right? Because I needed my brain to just go away for a while.
And the intellectual watching.
Oh, dude. the sandwiches. Oh my God, the sandwiches. Anyway, so I put it on. I was going to watch it while I was eating. And I thought, you know what, man? No. Slow your brain down even more. Get a hold of your day and just turn it off. Jill had some classical music coming off of the laptop. And I was like, yeah, I'm going with classical music, and I'm just going to sit and eat and relax.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. It allowed me to be more mindful. The food tasted a little bit better. I was able to relax a little bit more. After I ate, I didn't feel like, wait a minute, I'm still hungry. Did I just eat? I don't know what's going on. So I was able to pay attention to the satiety level of what was going on.
Yep.
And I can't recommend that enough. Be present with your meal. Be mindful with your meal. Chew your food into oblivion and just take your time and breathe. Maybe put your fork down in between bites and that kind of thing. And just be present and enjoy the food that's in front of you.
I think it's funny how our new age fitness culture created these things called intuitive eating and intuitive training and mindfulness and be present and everything, which is basically like, how many different ways can we just simply say, pay attention? That's all we're doing, is just pay attention to what you're doing. And we've got to create these terms that make it seem like this new agey fancy stuff. And it's not. It's just don't get distracted, pay attention to what's going on, and learn from the experience. But you're so right, because when it comes to eating, so much of what we need to know about how we should be eating for ourselves and what's working and what doesn't comes from that feedback. It's not going to come from the internet or some sort of crappy Netflix documentary telling you what you should eat and what you shouldn't be eating. It's, I ate it. Good. Now pay attention. How does it taste? How does it make you feel? What does it do to your hunger and satiety? Do you feel like you could just plow through a lot of it and not even get full, or do you eat a little bit of it and then you're satisfied? Like, these are the things we got to pay attention to. And if you're being distracted and you're not paying attention to it, you're basically eating blind. I don't care what kind of diet you're following, like this is the best diet and this is what I saw in this YouTube video or something, doesn't matter. You can have the best GPS in the world giving you directions, but if you're driving with your eyes closed, you're still going to end up in a crash because you're not paying attention to where you're going. So mindfulness, people,
Yes.
it's not a new thing. It's not new age. It's the essential component to a good diet. And one of the things that can help with that is I'm always talking about last week about the importance of satiety, enjoying your food, prioritizing enjoyment. So this week's tip is adding and getting really proficient in the use of herbs and spices. Back in the day, they called it the Silk Road, but it was also kind of the spice road because spices were literally worth their weight in gold, because spices and herbs and stuff did so much for the palates and the enjoyment of food and the nutritional quality to the plates and meals of people who were just eating nothing but very limited food options. So we can use that same thing now. And it's super easy and super simple and super efficient too, because you can just get a jar of stuff and you sprinkle it in. But when you're making your own food, or even if you're not making your own food, but you have something that you went out and you picked up a sandwich at a deli or something, you can still add spices to it. You can still add rosemary and basil. I add basil to all sorts of things that I make and stuff. But just these little things can really make the flavor profile and the enjoyment and the nutritional value of the food so much better so easily. So adding flavors and or herbs and spices is the dietary tip of the week. Do you add much to your cooking there, Al?
Yeah, we have some herbs in the backyard. Jill's got, let's see, basil, cilantro, thyme. What else do I see over there? Things of that nature. Oh, it's the best, man. It's the best to come in the backyard, cut something, take it in, put it into the salad. It's, love it. Yeah. Today I had rice that I made in bone broth, chicken broth, and then spinach, fried eggs, and we have a farmer's market has this fermented salsa. Oh, it's so good. It probably hit quite a few of your flavor. Was it the 4 flavor profiles or the 3 flavor profiles that you tipped out a few weeks back? Yeah. Oh man, it's the best. God, I love it.
I'll have to look for something like that. We got a local market here that might have something like that. They have all kinds of salsas. Good tip.
Yeah, good stuff.
Fermented salsa.
Oh man, I'm telling you, the flavor profile, it's so much more rich than a traditional one because you kind of have that tangy, sour kick to it. Oh boy, it's good. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Fermented salsa. So speaking of things we recommend, we've already given you a couple. Fermented salsa and the Duonomic Power Grips. I'll put a link. All this stuff is down below. The videos Al's talking about, lunges, are down below in the description as well. But my resource of the week is this thing right behind me here. This is particularly helpful for the home trainer. This is, of course, a whiteboard. And you're like, okay, whiteboard, big deal. No, seriously, because tracking and writing notes to yourself is a cornerstone of effective exercise, because you can make all the difference in the world. Again, that whole mindfulness thing. In other words, just pay the frick attention to what you're doing. Just look at your workout and being like, okay, so how did that go? Good. Now, what can you do to improve next time? Well, I could do X, Y, and Z. That's the thing about progression, is it becomes evident if you just look for it. If you're mindful and you're paying attention and you say, what can I do better next time? Write it down on a board. Now, I know a lot of times we recommend keeping logs and things like that, but when it's in a notebook or an app on your phone, it's really easy to be out of sight and out of mind, in which case you almost don't even have the same thing as not having it at all. But whiteboards are always present. They're right there. They're on the wall. They're staring you in the face 24/7, or at least every time you're in your exercise area. So I recommend get a big whiteboard and write down anything that is relevant in your workouts. What are you doing? How are you doing it? Keep a workout log on it. You can make notes about how you're trying to improve things, goals, everything. It's always in present. It's always obvious, and you can always change it very easily. And that way you're always paying attention to what's most important in your training.
Now, when you're doing your workouts and you go through a workout, and let's say you've got exercises A, B, C,
yeah.
Do you ever use, like in between sets, like some kind of test or retest type thing. Like I went through the original strength something or other one time, and we did goblet squats. We did a drill, and then we do goblet squats, and then depending on how that felt, that was either a drill you kept or you tossed it out. Do you use anything like that?
It's sort of it. Basically, like I write down the things that I think I'm going to use consistently. So if I do a drill, like someone's like, "Hey, try this interesting challenge," I won't write anything down if I'm going to do it once and done, and it's like, okay, that was fun. But if there's something that I want to make sure I'm paying attention to and mindful of every single workout or week or something, like make sure to keep my elbows in more while doing push-ups, or breathe while doing squats, or this is how many push-ups that I could do in 3 minutes or whatever. I want to try and beat that record over the course of a couple of weeks. Then I'll write it down, and that way it's really easy for me to change and have access to.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah. What is your resource of the week there? What can we use?
Oh, my resource of the week is something that everybody uses one to some extent or another, or has at one time: a playlist. A playlist. My playlist is rooted in 90s old school hip hop, because as far as I'm concerned, there is nobody on this planet who's going to convince me there is a greater era and or genre of music than 90s hip hop. You got Tribe Called Quest, Eric B. and Rakim, Dre, Public Enemy, The Roots, Black Sheep. I mean, it's just such an amazing time for music that is what I'm listening to when I exercise. It just gets me going. It gets me going. I mean, if just a good DMX song comes on, oh, dude, I am ready to go. Mama Said Knock You Out, all that kind of stuff. Oh, dude, it's on. It's on. It is on. I'm dope on the floor and I'm magic on the mic when I got all that kind of stuff on the Reverend Hammer, and yeah, that's what I'm listening to. How about you? What do you got?
Oh, my playlists are all over the place, but I've been finding a lot more, kind of like you, some epic stuff. I got this. Oh gosh, what was it? It's a website. Let's see if I can't look it up real quick here. That I was told about, where the Nostalgia Machine. Now it doesn't do anything special for genres. That's the only thing. It's mostly pop, but it's a really neat website where you can go in and plug in almost any year from like 1954 to like 17, and it'll give you like the top 30, 40, 50 musical hits of that year.
Oh, that's cool.
And it ranges. It does range. There's some hip hop, there's some alternative and stuff, but it's basically what you'd find on the most popular radio stations at the time. But it's called the Nostalgia Machine because the way it's typically used is find the year of your birth and then go forward 14 years. And then that year's music is the music that you probably haven't heard in forever. But when you listen to it, you're like, oh my gosh, I remember this. Oh, wow, I remember that. That's kind of the way they talk about using it on their website, is 14 years beyond the year of your birth. And that's the music that's going to make you kind of go all like nostalgic and everything.
Let's see here. That would have been for me 85. Oh, License to Ill. Yeah, when the first Beastie Boys album dropped.
Yep. And so that's there.
That was so good. And I think was it Tougher Than Leather or something like that? Run DMC, when they did the with Aerosmith there. I think.
Walk This Way.
Yeah. It's Tricky was on, I think. At any rate, yeah. Okay. Yeah. There it is. There it is.
So yeah, stuff like that. So it's just kind of a neat thing to look for if you're looking for just some old music that you used to listen to back in your youth, and and that stuff is fun to work out too. It just puts you in a different place mentally.
It's funny how a song or earlier to your tip, a smell, particularly food, or just something like that, right, can just take you right back.
Exactly. Yeah. Ditto on those herbs. You smell basil, you're in a pizza parlor.
Right? Not to be confused with peaches and herb.
Yeah, exactly. Very good, Al. It's always good talking to you, man. Why don't we wrap things on up here? So again, resources, we covered a lot of things in today's episode. All that's listed down below. If you're getting value from these episodes, please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. It helps other people find this. So if you're enjoying it, other people will as well, and it's going to be good karma. And we'll talk to you next week with our new episode with our fresh tips for improving your workout, your diet, and a resource of the week. Till then, stay strong and lead by example.